Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Market Insights with Linux, and welcome to your, now weekly update on AMD. We're going to do a full update on it right here. We'll talk about some fundamentals, but we'll focus on the technicals. I mean, we're very zoomed into the chart right now. I made my last AMD update last week, Friday. I cover it, or at least I monitor it quite a lot. I think it's a very interesting stock. And it has been for a couple of weeks already, but they've come out with some major announcements. Like I said, we'll list those in a moment to get a bit of fundamental context of how AMD as a company is doing. The sentiment around AMD is also doing, is in general pretty good. Now, the price action in the general financial markets, I would argue, in the past week have been a little bit tricky. Of course, with gold going parabolic, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But the volatility index also was quite high, and right now AMD is also struggling a bit, although still strong and bullish. So we'll talk about that. Since last week Friday, I think last week Friday, like we already had, talking about the fundamentals, we already had those rumors of AMD catching up with its main competitor, NVDA, of course, and that has continued. I mean, at this point of time, I would still say it's mostly rumors and very, very young, because if you take a look at the financials, the real data, the real money being made, obviously NVIDIA is still miles ahead of AMD. But it's an interesting sentiment, and the sentiment that potentially some technology that AMD has, and obviously I don't know too much about the technology in depth, but that sentiment in general can definitely help the prices. And then fundamentally, obviously, we had a couple of major headlines in the past 2 weeks. First of all, with the OpenAI AMD strategic partnership, we've spoken about that last week already, and with Oracle expanding with AMD for AI cloud services, which is also major. Although I must say it was more so, both Oracle and AMD as companies and stocks benefited from that a lot. And then they also debuted a new AI hardware platform. I think that matters a little bit less for the short term, but for the long term, it does matter for AMD as a company. So what we have in terms of price action since then is obviously a little bit more tricky. I mean, first of all, when we take a look at the S&P 500, that is just incredibly volatile. You can see the volatility index right now is also increasing in the last hour, but has been increasing since last week Friday, when the new trade war, or when a trade war conflict between China and the United States flared up again. And that has caused the volatility index to go higher. That has caused gold to go parabolic. And yes, we have pulled back over the course of this Friday. But outside of that, it's still in a massive uptrend, right? So the market circumstances are not amazing. But then when we take a look at AMD since last week Friday, it's actually holding up relatively well. So this was last week Friday, right? So we had a pullback into that level right here at 212. 212 very much was the first support level we had, right? In terms of relevant support levels, there's three main levels I'm looking. Well, there's a couple of levels I'm looking at right now. For me, right now, it's mainly 225. It's 235, which is what we're at right now, which is serving as resistance right here between 240 and 235, and then this level right here at 250, which is my main price target. And I would argue that we're going towards that, because even though the technicals in the general financial markets have been quite tough, right, with that pullback, you can see that AMD on the 1 hour time frame, first of all, did not even look like the level at $212 and $210, pretty strong technical support level, was front ran, all right, which is usually a sign of bullish momentum. We held the 1 hour uptrend, and then we were also able to get some strong momentum right here on Wednesday, pushing us above that level right here at 235. Now, we were not able to push through 240, but just in general getting towards that level and not really getting a strong bearish reaction from that level technically is bullish. So right now, I mean, given the market circumstances, I think it's likely we will pull back into that level right here at 225 and 220. But for now, I do think we'll be able to hold that. Like if it seems like we will not be able to hold that, which will most likely be caused by fundamentals, the next support level would be right here at 212 and 210, which, like I said, is a pretty strong support level. And since we did not touch that after, earlier this week, I would still say that that will function as a support level. But I think it's unlikely, given the fundamentals and given the strength we've seen, that we will drop down into that level. I think it's more likely that, yes, we will pull back, but that we will find support at this level right here between 225 and 220, which, by the way, is also not an insignificant support level. It's actually a pretty high liquidity zone with a 236 fib, the bottom of the fair value gap, and the 1 hour uptrend. And then after that, I'm not sure what the timeline is on that, but after that I would expect to move into our next price target, which is both a technical and a psychological level at 250. Those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know about AMD right now in terms of fundamental context and the technical situation. So hopefully it helps. But for now, thank you for watching. And if you're interested in more AMD updates, consider subscribing, but that's up to you. Thank you and bye.